Thank you, Jeff. I would also add to that introduction that I am not only a business owner, I am a struggling business owner. I happen to be involved in retail apparel is one of my businesses, and also commercial real estate, and they both happen to be at the nexus of our problems. So I have to deal with the fallout from our economy daily, and actually that's what originally got me into politics. A little more on that in a second. I am a small business owner, as you know, and I grew up in Slinger. I work in Menominee Falls, and I currently live in Shorewood, so I think I adequately represent the different areas of the 5th District. And working in Menominee Falls has basically allowed me to deal with a lot of the small businesses like myself that I have to deal with every day, especially small tenants, small family businesses. And I hear how they are struggling daily as well, and they have a lot of the same problems that I have. And it got me thinking about what we can do, what help can we expect from the federal government. And this is what got me into politics, because I looked around and I saw that we were getting zero help from the federal government, and particularly my representative, who runs on this campaign for the most part of not bringing any money back to the district, has done very little for small business. And I felt like, after talking to many small business owners like myself, that they had the same opinion. Many of them Republicans, surprisingly enough. So I thought about it for a while. I thought, well, the only person that's going to help me today is myself. And so I decided that I wanted to give Sensenbrenner a run for his money. And incidentally, I heard on NPR yesterday, it's been a recurring theme in the last week or so about how Democrats are in decline and how we're going to have a tough road ahead in 2010. And this annoyed me for a couple of reasons. The first of which is that as a challenger to Jim Sensenbrenner, I don't need to be told that. I already know it. But in addition, I look around and I see the candidates that we have here today in particular, and especially our candidate for governor, and I can't figure out how that can possibly be the case. I mean, we got great candidates, we have great people that are interested in trying to improve our economic situation. And that's what I'm going to be all about in my campaign. I've heard a lot from Jim Sensenbrenner recently about job creation. And I think that is a wonderful thing, and I'm certainly in favor of it. But as a small business owner who is trying to keep my own people employed, I think we ought to have to focus at least as much on job retention. Because there are people losing their jobs daily, and it's very difficult to convince them that the solution to our economic problems are creating more jobs when they're struggling to hold on to their own. So I thought about my own situation again as a small business owner, and I thought, what is the threat to the employees, the biggest threats to employees of the small business, because I'm surrounded by small businesses. And the first thing I thought about was it's very difficult to get financing these days. As anybody who's in the commercial real estate business knows, or any small business for that matter, banks are not lending. The financing that we could get years ago to shore up, to grow, to shore up our infrastructure, to create inventory, that's gone. It's not available. In spite of the bailout of the banking industry, it's not there. It's difficult to get. I think that the first thing, the one thing that I want to do, is I want to get in there and I want the federal government to regulate the banks more sincerely than they currently are, to make sure that the end result is that the money that has been lent to them by us, the taxpayers, reaches us, the taxpayers, especially small business owners. In addition, Sensenbrenner has recently voted against increasing the allotment for the Small Business Administration for loans and for backstopping loans. I certainly dramatically disagree with that. I think we should not only vote in favor of that, we should increase the funding to the Small Business Administration to allow the Small Business Administration to not only provide loans for starting new businesses, but also to backstop loans that are currently existing that many banks no longer wish to renew for whatever reason, for their own asset reallocation. So, financing. We can get financing back. The second thing I thought about, of course, is the high cost of health insurance. Paulette alluded to this as a small business owner. That's one of my largest costs on a daily basis for my employees. And I try and provide full health insurance for them. I think that our federal government, and recently President Obama, has done a wonderful job trying to remedy that situation, and I fully support the effort. Lastly, the threat to the employee has to come from maybe the capricious attitude of the upper management or the idea of self-preservation of upper management and the stockholders. Now, stockholders are important, and of course, I look at it as the owner of a business. I'm important as the owner of the business. But too often, what we're seeing is large businesses pair off 200 jobs instead of spreading the cost of the downturn across the entire company. I think this is poor business practice. I wouldn't do it. Many small business owners don't take a salary in order to keep their own employees employed. I think we have to re-inculcate that ethic into large business, especially in the 5th District, where there's so many small businesses and large businesses laying off people. And one way I would propose is I would strengthen, I support the Consumer Protection Agency that's being created. In addition, I would seek to perhaps create with the FTC a business accountability board that would research businesses across the country and when they lay off workers, exactly what is their rationale for that, and they publish it. Not necessarily an enforcement measure, but like a census to explain to the average person why these businesses made this decision. And once there's some transparency there, I think that because only you can make that difference, politicians can't, there will be people saying, you know, we've laid off 200 people, but the upper management is still receiving X number of stock benefits, and I think this is important. And I would open myself to that as a business owner. It's only the responsible thing to do. In addition to job retention, I also believe, and this is an issue I'm sure Paulette deals with too, is that the return on our tax dollars from the federal government in this state is woeful. And it is in my district in particular, and it is because a number of our representatives have taken a strong stand against government waste and earmarks. And my response has always been, if not now, when? When can we expect money to come back from the federal government? We're getting 80 cents on a statewide basis. We're getting 80 cents on the dollar. In my district, it's actually less than that. And I think that if my raison d'etre in Congress, lucky enough to get there with your help, it will be to change the mentality that the government is there, and I think Democrats get this, the government is there to help the average person, not to harm them. And if we can start allocating some of that money from the federal government back to our district, whether it be in the form of help to small agricultural cooperatives to provide benefits for seed purchases, whether it's small backstopping, small business loans. These things are important, and it's going to be a hallmark of my campaign in my office holding if I can do that. And I would like to thank all of you for listening to this long. Let me just say that it's something that Jeff said before, and it prompted me to think about this, and that is that to a large degree, the loyal opposition in government no longer exists. I mean, I've noticed, you've noticed this recently, that Republicans don't have much of an interest in working with Democrats on anything. This is one of the main sticking points I have with my own representative, is that he doesn't have any interest in working with the Democrats on anything. I believe personally, and I believe in the spirit of compromise. As a small business owner, I have to make these decisions on a daily basis. I have to work with people. I have to negotiate. This is part of business. I think we have to elect somebody to Congress that's going to be willing on certain issues to work with the other party. And I think Democrats get this, and I think they're working very hard, and that's part of the reason that I am currently a Democrat. So thank you very much for the moment of today.